How did ancient humans survive saber-toothed tiger attack? You are walking through a forest. The light is fading, shadows are getting longer, and then you hear it, a sound that makes your entire body go cold, a low growl that seems to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. Your heart is pounding so hard you think it might burst out of your chest, and then you see the eyes, two points of light in the darkness, and below those eyes, teeth. Massive teeth, curved like daggers, long enough to punch through bone. This is a saber-toothed tiger, and it has decided that you are dinner. The question is not whether this happened to ancient humans. We know it did. We have found skeletons scarred by these encounters. We have discovered remains of people bearing wounds that could only have been inflicted by these animals. The real question is how anyone survived this at all, because a saber-toothed tiger was not some distant cousin of the house cat. It was a 280-pound apex predator with a bite force that made modern lions look weak. It hunted for a living. It was perfect at killing. And ancient humans were slow, weak, and armed mostly with sharp rocks tied to sticks. Yet some of them walked away from encounters that should have left them dead. Here is the thing about saber-toothed tigers that nobody really talks about. They were not supernatural. They were not invulnerable. They were animals with animal weaknesses, and ancient humans, despite their obvious disadvantages, had something that saber-toothed tigers did not. They had community. They had planning. They had the ability to coordinate in ways that single predators, no matter how lethal, simply could not match. When a saber-toothed tiger attacked, it expected to attack one target, one individual, maybe two if it was unlucky. It had evolved over hundreds of thousands of years to kill in isolation, to use its massive strength and its devastating teeth on prey that was alone and unprepared. But ancient humans almost never were alone. They moved in groups. They hunted in groups. They slept in groups. And when one person was attacked, the others responded, not with retreat, with violence. Imagine this scenario. A group of 10 people is traveling together. A saber-toothed tiger emerges from the brush and grabs one of them. The person screams. The other 9 hear that scream and they respond instantly. They have weapons. Not good weapons by modern standards, but weapons nonetheless. Spears, clubs, rocks. They converge on the tiger immediately. The tiger has killed before, yes. It has brought down large prey through strength and surprise, but it has never faced coordinated resistance from multiple opponents attacking simultaneously. This changes everything. The tiger's advantage was its ability to kill quickly in a one-on-one scenario, but this is not one-on-one anymore. Now the tiger is being struck from multiple directions. It cannot focus on a single target because there are 9 other targets actively trying to kill it. Its massive teeth, which are perfect for piercing flesh, are less useful when you need to defend yourself from spear thrusts coming from 8 different angles. The tiger's weight, which usually works in its favor, now makes it slower to move away from attacks. What happens next varies. Sometimes the tiger dies. Ancient humans learned how to kill these animals. There is archaeological evidence of this, but sometimes the tiger escapes, wounded and bleeding, and the group survives. The person it grabbed survives, even though they are injured. This is not because the human was stronger or faster. It is because the human had something that came from intelligence rather than muscle. They had allies. They had a system. They had other people willing to die alongside them. But group defense was only part of the story. Ancient humans also survived saber-toothed tiger attacks because they were smarter about avoidance. Modern humans tend to think of ancient people as victims of their environment, randomly encountering danger. But this is not accurate. Ancient humans lived in that environment. They knew it. They learned where these tigers hunted. They learned when they were most active. They learned to read signs that meant a tiger was near, a disturbed area, the remains of a fresh kill, the specific ways that animals reacted to a predator in the vicinity. They also learned to use light, fire. A saber-toothed tiger could hunt in darkness. Ancient humans could not, but ancient humans had something better. They could create light. A group sitting around a fire, creating a barrier of brightness and heat between themselves and the dark where predators hunted, was a group that was dramatically safer. Tigers hunt by stealth and surprise. Light eliminates both. A tiger cannot stalk prey it can see seeing it. Geography mattered too. Ancient humans learned to live in places that were defensible. Cave systems, rocky outcrops, areas where a tiger could not approach from certain directions. This was not accidental. This was learned behavior. This was intelligence being applied to survival. And then there was something else, something harder to detect in the archaeological record, but evident in patterns of settlement and evidence of trauma. Ancient humans learned to fight back, not just in the moment of attack, but in the long term. They did not shy away from saber-toothed tigers. They hunted them. We have found spear points embedded in saber-toothed tiger bones. We have found evidence of hunting patterns that could only have been directed at these apex predators. Ancient humans learned that if you want to survive an animal, sometimes you have to take the war to that animal. And despite their disadvantages, they were good at this. They were patient, they could coordinate across time, they could set traps, they could wear an animal down. A single ancient human could not kill a saber-toothed tiger, but 10 ancient humans working together over the course of a hunt could absolutely do it, and they did. The irony is that the saber-toothed tiger's greatest strength was also its greatest weakness. It was so lethal as a solo hunter that it never had to develop the capacity to deal with coordinated group resistance. Evolution had perfected it for a particular kind of hunting, and when prey evolved intelligence and social structures that specifically countered that hunting style, the saber-toothed tiger had no evolutionary answer. It could not learn faster, it could not innovate, it could only hunt the way it had always hunted. Ancient humans could do both. They could learn, they could adapt, they could share information across generations. This is how ancient humans survived saber-toothed tiger attacks, not because they were stronger, not because they were faster, but because they were smarter, they were more flexible, and they were rarely, if ever, alone. When a saber-toothed tiger encountered a single ancient human, the tiger usually won. But ancient humans almost never traveled alone, and a saber-toothed tiger encountering a coordinated group of humans with weapons and the ability to think strategically faced something it had never evolved to handle. It faced intelligence, it faced cooperation, it faced a species that had figured out how to turn individual weakness into group strength. And against that, even saber-toothed teeth were not enough.